Alright, today I am talking about Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist. And there's not a lot of information on the internet, and I think that's really shameful. There should be a lot more information about this woman. And you say, well, they can only put what they have in the Bible. That's true, but there's so much more to the story. So much more to the story. Elizabeth, biblical figure, and it all comes from Luke 141, 24:13, and we'll start with Luke 1, verses 5 through 25. There was in those days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias. Zacharias was John the Baptist's father, of the course of Abiah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. So Zacharias and Elizabeth were the parents of John the Baptist, and they both came from a long line of priests going all the way back to Aaron. And they were both righteous before God. Think about that. And they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord blameless. And they had no child because that Elizabeth was barren, and they both were now well stricken in years. So she was older woman, and an older man, of course. And both of them were well stricken in years. So they were pretty old, too old to have kids. And Zacharias would keep praying and praying, and she would keep praying. They were both praying for a baby, a child. And there's not a whole lot of information in the Bible. There's no really deep-rooted, and that's fine because you have to study the Bible, read between the lines, ask God to help you, and more information will be revealed to you. And eventually, she would get pregnant and have a baby. And they would name him John. Later in life, he would become John the Baptizer, or John the Baptist. And so I think it's fascinating, and I need to do a video on this part here. They were walking in the commandments and the ordinances of the Lord, blameless. That's super huge important. And I'll talk about that in another video. But anyways, let's go to Luke 1:80. And the child grew and waxed strong in the spirit. Strong, superhuman strong, and was in the deserts till the day of his showing unto Israel. Waxed just means exceptionally strong, and he was waxed. He was super strong, exceptionally strong in spirit, the Holy Spirit. So let me give you a quick breakdown of what we're going to be doing. Let's go to the wilderness right here. This is Jerusalem over here, if you can't read it. Bethlehem's down here. This is where Jesus was born. King Herod would start killing all the children in this area, all the surrounding towns and villages and places around here where all the children were, because he was afraid that Jesus was going to be taking over the kingdom, the next new king. It was crazy, interesting, fabulous, wonderful story. And if you haven't watched my previous video, The Secret Life of John the Baptist Revealed, amazing story. This talks about John the Baptist in pretty good detail, so I would encourage you to watch it if you get a chance. So we know that Joseph, Mary, and Jesus went from Bethlehem all the way down into Egypt. Long trip. And we also know that John the Baptist, Zacharias, the father of John the Baptist, was killed by King Herod's son. So it's a little bit later in the timeline. And Elizabeth would take her son, John the Baptist. I'm going to say John the Baptist, even though at this time he's just a small child. He wasn't baptizing anybody. But just to keep everybody on track, I'll just say she took her son John the Baptist out into the wilderness. And this is where they would be. Elizabeth and her baby, her young child. Deserts, hills, snakes, vipers. You can't really see it on here. I mean, this is really, really rough terrain, desert, mountain, valleys, everything you can think of. And the child grew. So he's growing in the desert. And he's becoming exceptionally, superhumanly strong in the spirit. And he was in the deserts till the day of his showing unto Israel. Now, how was John the Baptist exceptionally strong in the spirit? Think about it. Can he do it by himself? No, he can't. He can't do it by himself. No way. John the Baptist grew strong in the spirit because he had a godly, an exceptionally wonderful mother who was strong. She was righteous and blameless before God, just like his father was. But right now we're talking about Elizabeth. She was righteous and blameless before God. This was a woman you didn't want to mess with. This was a woman who took John, her only child, into the desert, the wilderness, fleeing for their life. And I don't think that she was actually fleeing for her life. I think she only went into the desert because she wanted to save her baby son. I don't think that Elizabeth was the type of woman that would have ran away. If she didn't have John, I can see Elizabeth standing toe to toe against the people who want to kill babies, and she probably would have called fire down from heaven on them. I can see Elizabeth standing toe to toe with the best of the best. This was an amazing woman. This woman, he grew strong in the spirit because his mother was strong in the spirit. She was righteous and blameless before God. She kept all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord, and she was blameless. To have an exceptional man like John the Baptist, you have to have an exceptional woman backing him up. 100,000 million %. This was the type of woman. She was probably the type of woman, I guarantee it, she could have stood toe to toe with the best prophets in the whole Bible. I have no doubt about it. She was righteous and blameless before God himself, before the Lord. And not only that, she was blessed with a baby who would have the Holy Spirit while he was still in his mother's womb, her womb. That's amazing. That's amazing. And there's nothing in the Bible that's ever said in a negative way toward Elizabeth. And we know that to be the case. You just read the Bible, we know that to be the case. But if we look at the reverse side of that, Luke 180 tells us everything we need to know about Elizabeth. And the child grew. He grew in the desert under his mother's care, Elizabeth, and he waxed strong in the spirit because she came from a long line of priests, just like her husband did. They both came from a long line of priests. They knew the Bible. They knew the prophecies. They knew what was coming. And this was a woman. Oh, man. I'm telling you, she probably had God's ear if she wanted to. But she was a humble woman, a meek woman. I guarantee you, she was such a wonderful person. She had to be. For people to say that she was righteous before God, She was blameless before God, blameless before the Lord. And this verse right here, this is her biography right here. When you see John the Baptist in this video I made about him, that's a reflection of his mother. He wagged strong in the spirit because his mother was an exceptional woman. She was strong. She taught her son. He grew. Right here, it says right here, he grew in the desert with his mother. And she was there with him every step of the way. But unfortunately, she was an older woman. And unfortunately, she would eventually pass away. Probably when John was at an age where he could take care of himself. But this right here is the untold story of Elizabeth. And I'm so surprised that preachers and websites and people don't talk about it. She's like a superhero of the Bible. She's like this magnificent person. And I'm not trying to be, to idolize her. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying what a spectacular, wonderful person she was. He grew strong because she was strong. He grew strong in the spirit because she was a powerful woman. She taught him, she loved him, she cared for him. The fact that she was out in this desert doing it by herself, teaching him, showing him to be the man that he was. That speaks volumes. Yeah, we know about Bathsheba and Sarah and Eve and Ruth and Leah and Rachel and all the other, and Hannah and all the other women of the Bible, but they don't compare. They don't compare to this woman, Elizabeth. There's no way. This is a woman who's righteous and blameless, and not one bad word is said about her through the whole Bible. Oh man, the story she could probably tell. If she had written a book, detailing her life with John out in the desert, and how they, what they had to do to live every day by day, year after year, until she passed away. It'd be a #1 bestseller, top 10, probably #1 book of all. Well, not of all time. The Bible is the #1 book of all time, but it would be an incredible book. When John, not Joe, was going toe to toe, she was teaching John how to go toe to toe with the fallen angels, as I talk about in this video here. He grew strong because she was showing him how to be strong, how to be blameless in the sight of God, how to be God's friend, how to talk to God, how to walk with God. She is the unsung hero, one of the unsung heroes of the Bible that you never hear about, that preachers never talk about, that people never talk about. And it's such a shame, because her story is written right here. When you read the story of John the Baptist, you're seeing a reflection of his parents and how awesome his parents were. And in this particular case, how strong and what a wonderful person, and what a godly person his mother was. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, share, and keep in mind the next time you're reading the Bible, really read it, really look at it, and try to read. They say a picture paint 1,000 words, and that's true. But sometimes it's the words themselves that speak volumes and volumes. Overflowing with meaning. And you just have to read it and study it and ask God to help you reveal it to you. Thanks for watching. Hope everybody has a wonderful day.